in Ukraine, and you've also made it very clear what would happen if Russia were to invade. Will you take this opportunity now also to warn Russia against harming any Americans and say what the consequence would be if they did?
So let me take that question and make clear that we have no higher priority than the safety and security of Americans around the world. And last night, you heard us speak to the prudent steps we are taking in the context of our diplomatic community in Kyiv, knowing that the Russians have this large military buildup, that they could well be poised to take significant aggressive action at any moment. And so the authorized departure of non-emergency employees of our embassy and the ordered departure of dependents is part and parcel of and reflective of the paramount priority we attach to the safety and security of the American people. I don't want to go into private discussions, but we have made it abundantly clear to the Russians the priority we attach to the safety and security of the American people. They know that that is our highest priority. They know that we go to extraordinary lengths to protect their safety and security, and I'll leave it at that.
In terms of the numbers of people, of Americans inside Ukraine, yesterday I know that the State Department wouldn't be drawn on exact numbers, but is that because you don't know how many, or you just won't say how many Americans are inside Ukraine?
Our goal always is to provide you with timely and accurate information. And right now, we do not have an account that we consider to be accurate of the number of Americans, private Americans, who are resident in Ukraine. And I'll tell you why. You've heard this in the context of Afghanistan, but when Americans travel overseas, they, of course, are not required to register with the embassy in country. We always encourage Americans to register when they're traveling abroad with our so-called STEP system. But I think, as many of you can attest, when you travel overseas, you may not always do that. And some of you probably have never done that. Similarly, when Americans depart the country, they would need to deregister themselves. And so, given that many may not register in the first place, I think it is a safe assumption that many would, those who actually do register, may not remove themselves from that tally of American citizens who may be resident in a foreign country. The other point is that even when people do register, the State Department is not in a position to independently verify that a person who has signed up in STEP, the so-called STEP system, is actually an American citizen. So there are for a number of reasons, the tally, we just don't have an accurate tally at the moment. When we have messaged with the American people in private American citizen community in Kyiv, in Ukraine, in recent days, we have encouraged them to fill out a form that will help us acquire greater granularity on the size of the private American citizen community in Ukraine, but that's just not something that we have right now.
One more, you mentioned Afghanistan. I wonder if is there anything from Afghanistan that you learned about identifying and rescuing Americans inside a war zone that you think can be applied here?
Well, these are obviously not analogous situations, and so I would hate to suggest otherwise. Our primary charge is to keep the U.S. citizen community informed of safety and security developments. That is what we did most recently yesterday evening when we issued the updated travel advisory and accompanying media note to keep them informed of safety and security developments, and that can include information on commercial travel options. We have done this because, as the president has said, military action by Russia could come at any time, and we all know, and we have all seen indications that is the case, given the large-scale military buildup. We've also been clear that we won't be in a position to evacuate U.S. citizens, private U.S. citizens, in such a contingency, and so that is why we have encouraged private U.S. citizens who may be in Ukraine to plan accordingly, including by availing themselves of commercial options should they choose to leave the country. Even though we are reducing the size of our embassy footprint, the embassy is there to assist American citizens in this. We have the ability to provide, for example, repatriation loans for any Americans who seek to avail themselves of those commercial options to return to the United States.